I would say like all 5 players in the team actually like stepped up big time.
If we win every remaining game, we are 100% top 2.
For us, it's really important to be top 2.
I think Phoebe is probably the best mid laner right now.
Here we go, on to Poppy. The package has been delivered, and this was a cut and dry kill.
Our matches against H2K and G2 are going to be a real test.
Every team in top 6 can take a series out of anyone.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 9 of the European League Championship Series Spring Split. We're coming to the far corners of the globe from our studio in Berlin, Germany. As we can see, Mithy and the rest of OG sporting a new haircut and preparing for their first game of the day, as well as Giants. And with just 2 days left to climb the 4 playoffs, it all comes down to this very hype trailer we had there as well for Week 9. Hello, I'm Evie Schok supporter, here to preview today's matchups with the help of James Stress O'Leary and Mitch Kreppel Voorspoels. As said, Week 9 is upon us, and the just 10 games left on the slate. It is all about seeding. Of course, all 6 playoff spots have been secured, and it's all about the different races now at the top of the table for that 7th place spot and 4, 5, and 6.
So many races on, even down at the bottom of the table as well. We found out earlier in the week which teams were going to be locked into their seeding for promotion. So now the race is on at the bottom. Who's going to be the ones that are going to end up facing Huma? Because that's not an opposition I'd want to take on.
Yeah, for me, just the battle between Fnatic and Origen is probably the one that is the least decided, I feel. And it can swing both ways. Because the top matches, Unicorns of Love, they play some really tough opponents in the top. Everybody's kind of expected to win. So I'm really looking forward to the Fnatic and Origen, how they do this weekend.
Well, what about the top? Because obviously H2K and G2 looking like they will lock in that top 2, but they could be ending up in a tiebreaker versus each other for that first spot. Also very exciting.
Yeah, we have to remember that these teams are not only looking at just finishing top 2, because once they get to start thinking about playoffs, the first seed is obviously not going to face up 2 and 3 in the semifinals. That means whoever wins that match, if H2K wins, for example, they avoid both G2 and Vitality in their race to the finals, and will meet one of those teams in the finals more likely. That is definitely a coveted spot, so that tiebreaker may be very exciting to watch.
Yeah, definitely a lot at stake here this week, and hitting Summoner's Rift on the big stage is also patch 6.5. All champions are enabled, however, not the biggest patch we've seen coming in here for changes wise, but a couple of things changing in the meta.
Yeah, a couple of small nerfs to a lot of the champions we've seen at the top. So Kog'Maw, haven't seen him in the last couple of weeks, but a slight nerf to where his attack speed comes from in his kit. The TLDR from it means that more attack speed slightly earlier on is needed to get that big spike that we were seeing from Kog'Maw. Other slight nerf, Nautilus, slightly less damage on his Riptide. It's not enough to take him anywhere out of that top lane. He's still going to be a highly contested pick, just ever slight change to his trading potential.
Yeah, those were the meta kind of changes. Then we have some non-meta champions. More important for me, what I'm going to look at is like Soraka and Urgot. Used to be like the bottom lane in Season 2 as well. Soraka's play pattern completely got changed. So right now I believe you max Q and then you carry over that heal that you get from it with your W. So this won't really see much play in Europe, but Adrian, hopefully he's reading that over in North America. So he doesn't screw up his Soraka play right there. Other than that, I like Urgot overall as a champion. I think he is surprisingly deceptive. I think that's the best way to describe him, especially if he goes for a very armor-heavy CDR build. He could be like kind of a pick like Rammus, you know, that does really well in some of these triple AD carry compositions. So maybe somebody practiced him, because the change on his reverser right now, adding the fear to it, makes him stronger in teamfights.
Yeah, a couple of changes to his ult, but for another team fighting ult that we're maybe expecting a little bit more. Jarvan had a change to his ultimate. The damage now applies to everybody in that Cataclysm, not just to the target. I still don't feel like he's top tier. He's probably going to be seen in games where maybe Elise and Nidalee are banned, but it's a champion that we're expecting to see maybe crop up.
Is Jarvan top tier in your hands, or?
He's like the only jungler I can play, really.
All right.
It's like that and Rek'Sai. Other than that, no.
Okie doke. Well, as we reach the end of the split, we want to look back at how far we've come since January. Get on Twitter and tell us which pro do you think will be most integral to their team's success heading into playoffs or whatever they're fighting for, and why. Be sure to send your tweets at LOL Esports and use that hashtag EU LCS so we can see what you think later today. For now, though, for a look at what's to come in Week 9, let's check in with Trevor Quickshot Henry.
Thank you very much, Sharks. And as Week 9 gets underway, let's quickly take a look at the matches on the slate for today. We will be kicking it off with the Giants taking on Origen. The day will play out and he'll end up with Splice trying to upset G2 Esports. Now, these games are all incredibly important, especially as the week continues, because there's some must-win matchups across the board when it comes to tiebreakers, when it comes to those seeding battles, and which teams are most likely going to be playing those extra games. So let's take a look at the standings table and figure out exactly where those races are on. Right at the top, you've got G2 Esports and H2K. They are battling for first and the very important seeding in the bracket. In the middle of the table, you've got Fnatic, Origen, and the Unicorns of Love. They are battling for fourth. I think maybe more accurately, they were battling to avoid sixth place. I'll get to that in a few moments. And then finally, Splice and Elements. They're fighting for a guaranteed spot in the summer split, trying to skip the promotion tournament altogether. So take a closer look at each one of those races, starting with H2K and G2 Esports. I think this one's pretty clear-cut. These two teams have got a 1-1 head-to-head record as they've traded games in the split. H2K will be facing the Unicorns of Love and Elements this week. Those are two games that I think they are heavily favored to win. And G2 Esports will be wrapping up the day with Splice, and they'll face UOL tomorrow. So I think both of these teams will both take a 2-0. And what that means is we're set up for a best-of-1 tiebreaker for first or second. I think it's fair to say there is some outlier cases where if either of these teams drop games to their opponents, Vitality's in with a shot. They're only one game behind. Vitality's playing Rocket and Splice. So if these guys mess up, Vitality's in that race too. Next, in terms of racing, it's the fourth place. And this is a little bit more challenging because, of course, fourth plays fifth in the playoffs, sixth plays third. So it's very important to place higher up. Let's start with Fnatic. They've got themselves a 0-2 versus the Unicorns of Love, meaning that head-to-head breakers, they're behind. They're 1-0 over Origen, and they'll be playing Elements today, Origen tomorrow. So for Fnatic, if they beat Elements and my predictions come true, that game against Origen could determine that fourth and fifth seeding. Let's take a look at Origen. They're 2-0 over Unicorns of Love. They're 0-1 versus Fnatic. They play Giants and Fnatic. It's the first game they're busy setting up on stage. As we've already alluded to, Friday's game's important. Now the tough one, Unicorns of Love. Despite their head-to-head over Fnatic, they're behind Origen, and they've got the toughest schedule, guys. They're playing H2K and G2 Esports. So in order for Unicorns of Love to win, they have to pick up a victory in some tough matchups. That's if they want to stay in the running for fourth. I don't really think they have what it takes. So in my opinion, this battle comes down to Fnatic versus Origen tomorrow. It could decide everything in that fourth and fifth seeding, and we could also be in for another best-of-1 tiebreaker. Finally, another quick and easy one to understand. It is the battle in seventh place. It's a battle for that safe spot and avoiding the promotion tournaments. It's Elements and Splice. They've got themselves a 1-1 head-to-head record. Elements will be playing Fnatic and H2K, incredibly tough. Splice will be playing themselves G2 and Vitality. If either Elements or Splice pick up a single upset victory, they all but guarantee themselves a spot in the summer split, bypass the promo tournament. I don't think that's likely, so I think we're going to see a tiebreaker to determine who is safe and who's going to be playing Huma or the Copenhagen Wolves. Right, now I've run through the possibilities. I think it's time for some predictions. This is what I call my quick picks. First and foremost, H2K and G2 will be a tiebreaker. I think H2K is going to win that tiebreaker, and they will walk away winning the regular season. Run through the rest of the results. Vitality, I reckon Fnatic's going to beat Origen on Friday. Origen, Unicorns of Love. And in the tiebreaker between Splice and Elements, I think Splice are down to take it. Finally, Rocket and Giants is one last one to remember, because if both of the teams lose today, whoever wins Friday's game will take home 9th place and better seeding in the promotion tournament. So there is still hope for Giants and their roster change to pull another win. Playoffs are right around the corner, guys. The tickets are available for quarters and semi-finals over on lolesports.com. Go check out the website and figure out how you can join us here in Berlin. As we head over to the casters, we're going to hear from Soaz as he's going to talk about the issues that his team is facing as they head into the playoffs.
We had a lot of problems in terms of like communication, and our problem is mostly about like what do we do after the map is open. We don't really know what to play for when we don't have to play for turrets or something like this, so we are just like running around without like really a plan or something to do. Sometimes we tend to like not even call targets, so like the communication is not so good, really bad right now, but it's improving compared to like the 2 last months, so we have to take it step by step, I guess.
Hello and welcome to the Caster Desk and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Richard Polscam and I'm here with Martin's official longer as Giants and Origen load up onto the stage for our first game of the day.
100% correct, and thank you to Quickshot.
Yes.
With predictions in there and the quick picks as well.
Yeah, there's another word that rhymes with quick that I can't really say on broadcast, but I think more accurately describes those.
We don't like quick picks. We don't like
No, we do not. First, let's take a look at those first 2 teams. A quick look, if you will, Deficio. On the blue side for the 10th place Giants, it is Samidi J in top lane, Jungle Wisdom, mid lane Peppy, ADC Sunstar, with support Hustlin and Coach Lozar.
Yeah, new guy joining Giants. We can talk more about him later because now we want to talk about Origen. Introduce the players, of course, with Soas up in the top lane. Amazing is still in the jungle. Power Weevil is back as the mid laner. Sven AD carry, Mithy support, and Barley is still the coach. Now Origen does have an analyst working for them. We've seen it if you guys also watched the little show they do showing some behind the scene footage. The analyst is there. He's just not on stage with the team. I don't know why.
Yeah, we will be getting into Champions League very shortly with these guys. But yeah, to talk about Giants as well, with now Hustlin coming in, it's kind of a sad story because like Pepe is the only Spanish guy left on the lineup when we used to have this full Spanish team, and that was their thing.
Implying Alfred was Spanish, or didn't really change anything though.
I guess
Swedish guy.
Not, but I mean, the problem last week, man, was actually Pepe in the mid lane. Like
it was.
The last Spanish guy remaining was the guy who didn't have the good performance, and Smitty J actually did well. But when you have like a super fed Corki and Pevness is coming to your lane with the package, what are you gonna do?
Not much you can do, and I want to see if Origen is just going to ban the Fiora because Smitty J did have a good performance on it, and I feel like when you play Giants now, first of all you ban normal S tier, so like ban Kalista, ban Nidalee, these kind of picks, and then maybe have like one target ban if they did show a good performance on a specific champion. I feel like Fiora is a justified ban. Otherwise, in this pick and ban phase, I don't think there's a whole lot Origen needs to be too afraid of.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of respect bans or fear bans coming out. Alistair and Lulu will come out from Roccat. From Giants, rather. That confused me for a second. Yeah, Corki and Nidalee will be the first bans out. So as you mentioned, just kind of meta picks or meta bans coming out from Origen.
The top tier ones, you know. Corki has really climbed his way back after he got nerfed in 6.3 and he slightly dropped down, then some other nerfs happened and now he's back up because all the champions around him got taken down a little bit, and it's just very generic S tier picks. They're removing nothing there. Kalista as well, we talked about that one. So Fiora is open for Smitty J. Don't think it's going to be a first pick. Otherwise, Gragas, we've seen very highly prioritized by a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Poppy as well. Now that Nautilus has been nerfed a little bit, I think Poppy is going to rise even more as a top lane. She was already really strong. A lot of teams just favored Nautilus above her, but he's been nerfed slightly on 6.5, so I think maybe she takes his step at as the #1 top lane pick.
Maybe. A lot of the damage was nerfed off his E, but he still does a lot of damage
in
those
you can't kill him in team fights.
No, you can't kill him in team fights, I know that for certain. And we'll see what the priority is going to be from Giants now. It probably won't be top lane.
Predicting Giants pick and ban phase is almost impossible, I feel, because they change it almost every single week. It's something completely new. We've seen Braum first pick before, but that was before it was even cool to first pick a Braum. Because they banned Alistar themselves, he had to take the second best support in the pool. And it's for Hustlin as well. It's a comfort pick for him. You know, his first game on stage with Giants.
But what do you give over now? Is that like the jungler now you'll get like a priority jungler, like Elise is still up, Gragas is still up.
I definitely go Gragas
priority.
100%.
We've really seen like a lot of first rotations like Quinn as well, which has been kind of odd coming out.
Yeah. Not the biggest fan of the early Quinn pick. I like Gragas. I think he's the jungler just behind Nidalee. Again, if you have like a tier list of picks right now in competitive, I feel like he goes like Nidalee, then it goes Gragas, and then you have that pool of like Elise and Lee Sin. Yeah. Depending on specific junglers, even Kindred, some people put up there. Yeah. We talked about Poppy, and I think this is a super strong first rotation from Origen.
Yeah, I really like Poppy in the top lane right now, as you're talking about Nautilus as well. We might even just see Giants pick up Nautilus a little bit later, see if there's any other priorities they want. Nautilus still do fine into Poppy, but yeah, Poppy has definitely risen in popularity on 6.5.
And I also like Poppy as a pick into Fiora. You can actually do well early on in that laning phase as Poppy and pressure Fiora quite a bit. So it might also just be an early pick to say, oh, you're going to play that champion, Smitty? We will have a slight advantage now with the Poppy.
I dare you.
Oh, This is a champion who has been buffed on 6.5. Not the Yasuo, the Sejuani. I'm not sure if we are going to see it a lot, but it does look better. Obviously, after the buffs here, more damage on permafrost in the early game. Also, her auto attack reset is a lot easier now to pull off, a lot faster, so it's better for early trading. They're baiting us.
No. Well, I really want to see a Sejuani come out at some point, because it could actually be good. She's always been on the edge of being good.
Right.
And then has never quite made it. Sivir, however, has definitely come up the rankings in terms of the power rankings of the picks. Her ultimate is still good. Critiche is absurd. And Graves gets picked up as well. I can go into top lane or jungle.
Yeah.
See where it goes, though.
Graves is another one. It's a pick over in NA. They put a lot of focus on. I even saw it first picked in some of the games last week. And one of the main reasons is just the change to the item build most people go for now. You go Death's Stand into the Phantom Dancer. And like the damage you can deal is insane. Reload time is much better. And again, you get not only the fact you get the bleed effect instead of the straight up bursts.
Yeah.
And then also you reduce the damage of the single target you fight against with the Phantom Dancer. It's super strong for dueling. And also with some of the nerfs like Nautilus and some of these picks which became unkillable, he obviously does better as a top lane pick.
Oh man, there we have it. The Jhin coming out along with Thresh in the bottom lane for Miffy. So yeah, more people bringing that to the table now that Reckless showed everyone how it's done in IEM, picking that as well in the LCS, though he did have that game where he sat top lane for 20 minutes and the game ended. But it wasn't their favor, so he didn't really do anything. I mean, but yeah, great to see more Jhin come to the table. And now looking for the response from Giants, trying to shut that down. But there's already a really nice front line coming out from Origen, which will make it difficult to get to the Jhin.
Yeah, with the Jhin, Nautilus comes in as suddenly a fine pick to go for. Even a Sejuani if you want, because against Jhin, you want hard engage. You want things that can land CC onto him because he's a low mobility champion. He will get movement speed, of course, but he has no dashes. So fire Sejuani ulti towards him and he has no flash, well, he's gonna get hit. And then you can just pile onto him with Sivir ulti as well. So there's a lot of options. Obviously, Graves, as we talked about, could go top lane.
Hey,
the build we've seen, and
the anti-bait. So they did actually come up with the Sejuani in the end. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to see where that's going. That means Graves will be going top lane now.
Yeah, Graves top. Again, I like the new item build. That's what I'm expecting to see from Smitty J. We can talk more about it in-game as well once we see the items get completed. But we talked about Sejuani. Gotten some good buffs here.
Yep.
A Runic Echo is what you build. So it's a bit like Gragas in a sense. You build the AP item in the jungle, so you speed up your jungle clear a lot.
Yeah.
And then you just build tank right after. And you become a very, very strong team fighter. And we talked about the Jhin as well. Lacking that mobility. So when you have now Sejuani ulti flying in, you have a Sivir buffing up the team. Getting to Sven should not be the issue. Obviously, there is a good front line in front of him, but Thresh is not a hard disengaged support. He will slow you down, but he won't instant disengage the fight. This is a good pick, though. The Varus into Azir. Azir does pretty poorly against very long-range poke. Because Azir is a champion who wants to sit back for most of the fight and just land consistent DPS. And then if he finds an opening to all in and like shoot you back with the wall, he will go for it. He rarely gets that opening against Varus. And also in the laning phase, Varus can push in the lane and chunk the Azir very safely. So it's a very good pick. It's an old counter pick into Azir. Now that Azir is back in the meta, has been played a lot more. So I like the fact we've seen some new picks here. We see just new focus. There's no Nautilus in this game. He wasn't banned, he wasn't picked at all. He's still a good pick. But I think just other champions kind of climbed a little bit further up the ladder than him.
Yeah, for sure. And also the Varus on Power of Evil, like kind of coming full circle because he went to like those long poke champions after being like the playmaker of Syndra. And now he's going back. It's just like, hasn't been working out and let's go.
First time he played it was the spring final in Madrid. He pulled it out. A lot of people after said, oh no, that pick, you know, cheese.
Yeah.
Clown Fiesta pick, you know, that's never really going to happen. Suddenly, China and Korea were playing it as well.
Faker plays and it's like,
okay. The Ku Tigers played it quite a lot in the mid lane, and it is a very strong pick. It still is. It has been hurt a little bit by the item changes that happened with no Last Whisper anymore and Brutalizer being on, but it's still super strong, and it's good into Azir.
Yeah, I feel like once you have the Faker seal of approval, people are just like, oh no, it's good. It's a good pick. But yeah, we'll see how it works out as we get into game. Azir as well on Peppy has not really had a good win rate in LCS, 0-4 currently. But we'll see if Peppy can make it work. I always feel like this composition was like a very easy composition to run up until the Azir. It's like Sejuani goes in, Sivir pops ultimate, Brom's there for frontline, Graves will split push, he has this build. And then now Azir has to make really strong plays on top of that. Well, send your predictions on these compositions and how you think this game is going to go. Hashtag GIA win and hashtag OG win on Twitter as we get into this game. And we'll see which team actually comes up on top. This is an important win for Origen because they really need to start fighting for that 4th spot. And this win will help them do that as we get into game here. And Giants, there's not a lot to play for other than getting their team synergy on the point, moving into promotions. Maybe there's a slight possibility.
Slight chance. If they go 2-0 and Rocket loses both the games, we might get Giants climbing above them in the standings and therefore not being in the last spot. And also the last seed coming into the promotion tournament, which is next week, of course.
But they are throwing everything to try and make that happen because really they just need to get that synergy down because last week didn't have a fantastic performance. This time bringing in another player and now you basically have a different lineup and then Peppy. So it'll be tough to execute, you know?
It's always a very tricky thing when you look at a team who's losing a lot and you're like, well, they have to make changes. And they did. But then you have to question, did they do it fast enough? Should they have been able to identify the problem maybe all the way back in week 4, week 5? Potentially made some changes there, or some more changes, that is. Obviously, they did make a jungle change, put in Beton Yoke, and now they actually replaced him again for Wisdom. So it's always weird. We understand Giants are doing this because they want to see if they can prepare for the promotion tournament. Obviously now this year the promotion tournament is no longer after playoffs. You will have less time because it is on Thursday we start. And if Giants is number 10, then they will play on Thursday. And you have to win that BO5 or you're out of the promotion tournament.
It's really scary for these teams if you get down there. But see the Ludless coming out. Actually the Spinny J as well. So is that actually very common for Graves in the top lane? Because we're seeing some other interesting things that will hit as well, but sometimes we see Fervor, we used to see Thunderlords, and that, disappeared.
So again, this tells me he's going for that, I'm going to call it new item build, even though it's actually been around now for a few weeks. With Graves, where you go again for the Death Dance, and then the Phantom Dancer. So with the Warlord's Mastery here, again, it's an all-off passive, basically. You get so much extra sustain, and you can just stand, and because you can reduce so much damage from the enemy with Phantom Dancer and your own passive as well, you can actually become a legit bruiser early on in 1v1s. And also in teamfights, if people don't burst you down, you will lifesteal quite a lot back. So I really like it, because you will be playing aggressive, you will be in your face, you want to really hit that shotgun straight in their face. And that means you have to be able to lifesteal back and of course survive that initial burst. So I think it is much better for him now, and I think it's why he's really become a great top lane pick now. He was always solid, but then a lot of teams didn't want to play him. I think now he is actually very strong.
And that's even with the fall off of the damage on Q. Like, can you imagine if he still had the damage on Q and he had decisive build? Yeah, he would be one-shotting everyone. We also had Deathfire touch. We do have a hook in the bottom lane onto Hustlin. And Miffy will get a lot of damage down there. Sven will follow up, and there's the dancing grenade. I was always looking for that last auto attack as well, because he was coming in with the swag walk and he was ready to go. But maybe he'll get the snipe, but Hustlin's a little too high HP now. But that was not a good start to this game. A lot of pressure being put down mid lane as well. That Deathfire touch is starting to add up the damage. Amazing, potentially looking for a dive behind here.
I'm very surprised Giants didn't opt in for lane swap here, because 2v2 bottom lane, they're going to lose. Big time against double range and agility. Mid lane.
Flash E, first blood over to Power of Evil. As simple as that. Amazing will take one more tower shot. Oh, single digits. Full control. I actually don't even know if Peppy hit him, so he would have gotten executed, but...
So again, there's some
a
few early game things here we didn't talk about because we were looking at masteries and we were talking about Graves. And of course Giants before. One, no lane swap. To me is a little bit odd from Giants, because again they have a weaker 2v2 bottom lane, which is super difficult to play into, and also Mithy and Sven are still one of the better bottom lanes we have here in Europe. Graves also does fantastic in lane swaps because he's so fast at pushing down that tower, standing melee range to it, hit him with all the bullets. But then also in mid lane, Peppy not running cleanse. Against Gragas and Varus, it sets up very easy ganks for Origen now. Hard to do anything against the dive itself, but later on, once you get level 6 for Power of Evil, you land that ulti onto Peppy, and then Gragas comes in. There's not really much Peppy can do. He's running TP instead, so he's playing for more outsider lane, I always want to say. But I think Cleanse would have been a better choice for him.
So if anyone's interested, that was Amazing surviving with 2 HP. So as he got away from that tower, exactly 2 HP. And to expand upon your point as well, Deficio, last week we had 9 out of the 10 games with lane swaps, and now we don't have a lane swap in this game. So we actually had a whole lot last week. And then Giants didn't opt to it this game, even though it probably would have been the right decision. So we'll see how this game works out for them. But Wisdom goes into the enemy jungle, takes away the Krugs on the top side, and Power of Evil rotates back into mid lane. There's not a huge CS advantage, but in terms of pressure, Peppy's always being shoved back to his turret.
Yeah, again, Origen should always be able to play around mid lane and bot lane in this game and just invade that enemy bot side jungle. Sivir will often stay even in CS. She's very hard to completely deny CS because she's so fast at tearing out the wave. You give her like 2 seconds basically.
Yeah.
Boomerang and then ricochet and then boom, wave is gone. Problem for her is this: Sivir really wants to be able to constant push you to your tower and then like slowly chip away in your tower. That's not gonna happen in this Jhin lane at all. So yeah, you might not deny her the full amount of CS, but she won't take your tower. Then going into mid game, she can struggle then to deal damage against these big tanks like Gragas, like Poppy. You see, gank in mid, Peppy has to flash instantly.
But now he doesn't have the flash for the hook. Miffy doesn't quite land it. Was hoping Peppy might try and juke back into it there. And more damage gets put down by Power of Evil.
This was the setup we mentioned though. No cleanse. Super easy. Just go in and gank it. Try and land the ulti from Power of Evil. Instant forces to flash. You saw Amazing was nearby as well. So Peppy is gonna struggle because the river is lost. It is fully controlled by Origen. Wait for Power of Evil's ulti to be back and then you can just go for another gank in mid. Sejuani wants 6 and she has it now.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see that first Glacial Prison come out and lock someone down. Peppy still found a way in mid lane, going for the double Darrens in fact, so also went for the biscuits.
Yeah, it's a bad recall timing for him, or back timing, because he got ganked. Obviously, he got killed on the tower.
Can't go for main components.
He didn't even get to pick up the wave that was pushed into his tower beforehand. Also, Power of Evil running the cleanse, making it difficult for Sejuani to go in and help. I think we should just see Wisdom instead. Either you gank the Jhin lane, or you go up and you try and snowball your Graves, because Graves will become a fantastic strong split pusher. Poppy is, of course, very difficult to take down, but ganking mid lane should not be an option for Wisdom here.
Well, Amazing is going to utilize that pressure he has mid lane to allow Power of Evil to come in here and try and take this one away. Wisdom did not get the smite, and it's going to be smited away by Amazing, so it didn't get onto Power of Evil. That would have been super greedy, but they still have theirs to go back to when it spawns in a minute. But still taken away from Wisdom, and more importantly, Peppy.
Funny enough, before as well, Wisdom sneaking down bot lane with Rift Herald buff. Once you walk into the bush, you will still buff the minions.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
you can't really, they're like, huh, what's going on here? The minions are getting buffed around, and I don't see Rift Herald on any of these guys. I wonder who's down here.
Yeah.
Poor Wisdom don't have to recall. He's back top now.
Oh, mid lane.
Trying one more time. That's the gank here mid.
Yeah, locked down with Chains of Corruption. Amazing has his ultimate ready to go. Peppy doesn't have his flash, but Amazing and Power of Evil were going into dark territory, so they didn't see if anyone was around the corner, just in case Wisdom comes up with their ultimate. But there's the flash and the Arctic Assault onto Soaz, looking for the ultimate to lock him down. But Wisdom should be going down here. Amazing in this one-on-one, keep his verdict, will keep Smitty in place. He'll flash over the wall. Soaz trying to block the damage, and Amazing will blast Smitty away. Doesn't quite get the angle on that one. Oh, sniped down in the bottom lane. Sven landing a big hit with the curtain call. In top lane, Amazing's looking for it. Comes in with the Drunken Rage, looking for another couple auto attacks to make this one happen. But Smitty J manages to get away with his life.
Hey, see some of the good lifesteal he's going to get on this Graves here with the Keystone as well. So still felt difficult to take him down even though he was low. But we mentioned it, Sejuani, you know what? Either you gank the Jhin, tried before, gave it away with the minions, then went top lane because the next one was ganking the Poppy, get that Graves rolling. They do pick up the kill. And in the end, only lost the support, which obviously had nothing to do with the first gank. There's this 2v2 lane with Jhin and Thresh. Like, Jhin is such a strong laner. And this is a big problem for Giants. They're really far behind this 2v2 bottom lane. Just hook onto Hustlin.
So
low, and then I guess Sven is going to miss a few of his curtain calls here. Let's see. 1 onto Sunstar. Second.
That one was flashed.
Third. Fan up. And then the last one with the crit. Boom.
All right, pretty solid ultimate shots coming out there.
We like it. Sunstar didn't manage to block the last one. So some missed synergy there between the Giants' bottom lane.
Maybe even Sunstar was just like, I don't even know if I want to take this. Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. You probably cost me a few CS before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you deserve it.
Was that quite the Deficio level Jin we're seeing in this game?
I would obviously nail all 4 and
Yep.
get both of them.
Exactly.
So I would have missed every single one.
Yeah. Would have predicted that flash. No. The bottom lane, though, Giants are pushing this one in.
Oh.
Hook lands onto Hustlin again, and Sven will deal the damage. Unbreakable Glacial Fissure will put some CC down, but Amazing is there for the counter gang. Smitty J comes in from the top side, made that the double kill coming out for Sven. Now Wisdom in a bad place. The flash to Flay. Amazing doesn't have anything to keep him in place, but Jin does, and Power of Evil in from the mid lane. He arrives, Income with the piercing arrow, and that'll be a fast kill over to Origen.
And this is the expected thing with Giants. It's a lot of solo queue, you know. It's very hard to coordinate properly. They straight up walk down bot lane, start pushing in the tower with Smitty J as well. Mithy shows up, minion wave dies, he just hooks in Hustlin, who disengages way too late. Snare from Jin, obviously coming in. Jin and Thresh, a lot of good synergy. Add in a Morgana if you want instead of the Thresh, that's pretty nasty as well. Just pull under you, W, you instant snare, and there's very little you can do. But Origen just very easily coordinates the defense here. Look, he mini wave dies, last one Mithy, times the hook. Hustlin hasn't been able to disengage in time, snap on the tower. And now there's really nothing Giants can do because Amazing is already here. Power of Evil is already roaming. It's a great play with the Lantern, by the way, from Mithy and Sven on the bottom side. And now you're caught behind the enemy tower. The setup is just a little bit too predictable, and it's hard to really judge Giants too much with so many roster changes, communication problems. Issue for me still is they have 1 week to fix all of this before the promotion tournament starts.
To be fair, it is Giants playing against Origen here, and while Origen have been kind of firmly in the 6th place, kind of the gatekeepers stopping all the bottom 4 from getting into the top 6 for a while, they have looked definitely a little better in the last week with FLICKR, but yeah, still, Giants will still, it was a very weird week, but Giants will still have those issues going against some of the other teams, especially the Challenger teams coming up. So very excited to see how they perform against the top Challenger teams after we had the Challenger Finals on Tuesday. Power of Evil still farming down the mid lane.
But just to add to your example with Origen, struggling but then getting slightly better, they've still been struggling a lot in the early game. So like in the last 6 games they played, they won 4 of them. Only 1 game they had a lead at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This game they should have a lead at 20 minutes, so we can add on for the last 7 games they played. 2 of the games they have a lead at 7 minutes. They're going in.
Smitty, I don't think you want to be there anymore. There's no chance for him even to react. There was no flash. What's he gonna do? Can't even pop the collateral damage. And he just goes down. They kind of came in for the gank the first time round. It was like, no, we're gonna leave you. Just kidding, let's go. And Smitty went down. Just another death in the top lane. Destiny just bleeding out all over the board. 13 minutes in, and Origen are in full control.
Well, it's funny with Giants, because we talk about leads at 10 and 20 and so on. See some action. Oh, Wisdom steals away the Brewbuff. But Power of Evil steals away their lives.
Peppy not in a good place. Nero's Wisdom. One more auto out from Power of Evil. He just rocks up, throws out the auto attack, and instantly picks up a kill. Peppy will have to flash over the wall. Someone is being burnt left and right.
So for Giants, this split. 10 minutes. On average, they're down 700 gold. It's bad, but it's not terrible. You know, you can survive that. At 20 minutes, on average, they're down 4,300 gold.
Less survivable.
So, obviously, when you are a bit solo queue focused with new members, and also before where the synergy wasn't there from Giants, and they really struggled when it came to actually having game plans and following them. Once you get out of the first part of the laning phase, that's where you start seeing the roams from supports. That's where the jungler starts setting up tower dives. That's where it always goes wrong for Giants. They don't have any plan in the mid game, and they fall so far behind. They've never really been able to claw their way back into the game and then have these late game victories. And also Pepinero's been struggling because everyone around him obviously is also underperforming. So it's tough to expect anything, honestly, from a single member on Giants. And so far, it is going as expected.
Well, Origen have had other issues as well themselves. Not all of them are really showing themselves this game because they generally have pretty good solo performances. Like CSD at 10 is really good from Sellers and Sven, but then they have really weak goal difference at 10 because they're not taking any towers, not taking any objectives, they're just doing really well in their lanes. This game, they're doing really well in their lanes, but then they're taking everything away from Giants as well. They're taking the towers, they're taking the dragons, and they're just getting so far ahead from it.
And they have to. I mean, they have to be able to do this against Giants every time.
Well, Smitty J gets dragged into Sven. This should be a fish in a barrel. There's the kill. Wisdom is going to flee for his life.
One thing I really like about this combo, Jin and Thresh, is when a Thresh flays, obviously there's that small time where you're jumping through the air, slightly getting knocked up. It's actually enough time for Jin to charge up his W. It's a very strange skill shot because there's that charge up time before you fire it. But the flayed duration where the guy CC'd is enough time for that
so you can chain
animation to finish, and then you fire the shot so quickly, then it's hard to dodge it, and then you just get snared instantly. So it's very good chain CC happening with this 2v2 combo, and again why I think you need to lane swap on it.
Well, Sven already with the Infinity Edge in this game, building towards the second item on this one. 4-0-1. 9-1 the team in total. Sven is going to be shooting down his turret with ease. 400 gold in the bank, clearing up the rest of the minions with the dancing grenade. Death Dance has been picked up by Spinny.
Yes, we got it.
We got it at the start of the build. Will he get to Phantom Dancer? That's the other question.
As long as he gets his heal, it's enough.
Okay.
Say that was what he was aiming for.
We didn't get the damage reduction though.
No, but it's more we can say he went for that build.
Oh, okay.
We talked a little bit about it. So, like, look at the CC chain here. So it's not the mythic, but look at the flay then. Okay, W is actually charged up before that, but doesn't matter. You can still do it.
We'll see it next time.
And then it's just super easy combo from OG, and they're so far ahead at this point. Mythic soaking up the ulti from Wisdom. Not really been showing anything about the new Sejuani.
Not really. I mean, the problem there as well, like Sven just saw him and it's just like, you gonna auto consult me, bro? All right, sidestep, and then there was nothing he could do from there. Like, they're just being outplayed all over the board to the point where it's so difficult to make outplays, and even if you land auto consult in that situation, when are you gonna do it? Like, Sven's almost full HP anyway, and Origen are just so far ahead in this game. It's crushing, honestly, and Giants, like, I don't know what they do. Should they stall out the game so they get more experience on the LCS stage? Like, what is the play here, Deficio?
I don't think there is a play. I mean, try and maybe set up a trap like they're doing now, and then see if you can land 3-4 man Sejuani ulti into AoE damage from Smitty J, put Pepe, in a good position to deal some damage. You have a strong team fight composition here, so you might just have to say, we weren't planning on team fighting this early, but now we don't have a choice. Group together, try and land that ulti from Sejuani, and then see if we can take the fight. Like, surprise Origen. Honestly, that's the only way out. You have to team fight your way out, and that's what they're trying to do here.
Well, that was a Flash Arctic Assault, or Arctic Assault Flash, and Power of Evil did burn both of the summoners and his ultimate, so they did get a decent amount in the mid lane in terms of a trade, but Wisdom also used his ultimate, I believe. So they are still falling behind. Mid lane, kind of interested in the item build because obviously with some of the items being nerfed for AP or AD casters, it's gone for the Ghost Blade in the mid lane for the arm penetration, extra movement speed, etc. And the Mirror Mana.
Yeah,
building towards it, Mana Ring.
More of my Mortars as well, super good early item.
Yeah.
If you're against AP champions, also gives the armor penetration, so some good options still for Power View, which is not the same punch.
Yeah.
Lacking
it was very clear what it was before.
Yeah, it was very simple. Just stack full armor penetration and then start shooting everyone.
Yeah. Wisdom going back to base. Probably could have walked back, honestly, from there. You're running on the boar as well, so it's like, it's not even you doing the effort.
So you're not walking back?
No, you're riding back. Oh, Pepe. Well, Hustling, gonna block one, block two. You might die for this, though. Where's the fourth one going? Who you gonna nail? The minions. Didn't land the fourth one, but they were full HP anyway, so not gonna make the most out of the missing health damage. That's a big crit on to the mid lane. This tower is just down, and Smitty J, he's also down. Sunstar, he's putting out a little bit of damage onto Soaz, but 18 minutes into this game, just on the horizon of 19 minutes, and Origen are pushing into the base, onto the inhib. That will be going away. Origen, they don't need to push any further. They could if they wanted to, but they're just going to back off, sweep the jungle, maybe even set up wards around Baron. Dragon, they can do whatever they want. Rest in peace, Pepe.
Yeah, Giants are sadly sticking to the trend with this new roster of being very far behind, very early in the game. G2 beat them in 20 minutes and 52 seconds, and last week, at 15 minutes, they were down 5k gold. 20 minutes, they were down 9,000 gold.
Are we on track?
I mean, we're actually looking worse right now.
Okay.
The sad thing is also, well, the tough thing for Giants is that Origen is running this poke comp with like Varus, Jin. Once they get this far ahead, like there's nothing you can do because it's just insane with the amount of poke, and then chain CC, Varus ulti into Jin W.
Oh man.
It's just scary. Land one long-range ability and then Jin can snipe you.
Yeah, like the threat range from like Origen is so scary. Like you could be in your base and just get sniped 100-0, like if everything lands.
It also helps when you are 12,000 gold ahead.
Sure, yes.
Makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to really be too afraid. Giants had this comp where it was so so focused around having engages from Wisdom and then just try and blow someone up and pop Civil ulti and like kind of rush at the poke comp.
Yeah.
But obviously that doesn't work when you're this far behind. And
nice deadly flourish there.
Sven snipes out Peppy.
Yeah, Jin definitely has the best skill names, like, so far. Deadly Flourish, Curtain Call.
You mean QWER?
Yeah. To the color caster, yes, but it's all the pizzazz, you know, coming in. I really wanted to see Jin. I mean, there's only like 46 in the world. That was a really obscure anime reference, which you will not get to Vicious.
No. I tried to watch 5 minutes of that anime you told me about.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. It was just this kid running around crying in the city.
No, and that's not, no!
And he got kinder boring after 5 minutes of him being angry about something in that city.
You've got to watch the whole episode, Vicious. You can't judge Attack on Titan the first 5 minutes. Are you kidding me?
I will watch the entire episode.
You said that a month ago.
One day.
Alright.
It takes time. I watch 5 minutes, and I quit for 2 months, and then I watch another 5 minutes.
Well,
I'm trying, man. I'm really trying.
Yeah, I get that. Top lane, that'll be the flash away from Soaz. He's going to be charging up the
I'm going to get a lot of angry tweets, by the way.
Yes, you will.
A lot of people like Attack on Titan, and I would probably like it too if I actually started watching.
That's why you've got to bash on like an obscure anime, and then it's just like, I haven't heard of that, but yeah, if you hit the mainstream ones, that's not the right
I
part.
like the concept.
Yeah, okay.
It seemed pretty bad. The action scenes were pretty cool.
In the first 5 minutes.
It was just that little kid running around.
You can't see me, but I would be facepalming right now. Origen onto the Baron. This will be going down. No vision at all.
Yeah,
there's the Zeal, so we know, and the 2 daggers.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we know he's going towards Phantom Dance. He may actually finish it before game end because there's so many minions going into the base now. He's split pushing bot lane while Hustlin is dying in the top side. They knew Baron was being taken. Sunstar, over half his health gone. Hammer shock out from Soaz, and that's just enough to finish him off. The damage out from Origen is actually disturbing. I'm surprised, but like, you don't expect to get half health by a Q coming out.
And snipe some more
Peppy. Depressing. Ooh, big crit in from Sven. It's really just who can get the most damage out of one ability right now and style on the person hardest out from Origen. It's just, they're putting on a show just like Jin. In with the curtain call, lands the first, the third. Looking for that fourth, lands straight onto Hustlin. He's going to be dragged into the team. Protect the fancy points, boys. Let's get onto those Nexus turrets and finish it out in style. 22 minutes into this game, and Origen run all over Giants.
In a second.
In a second. They've got to pad the stats first. Nexus down.
Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about. Smitty J did finish his Phantom Dancer, so that was something.
Oh, okay.
Expected.
Yeah, as expected.
Origen!
And without XPK as well, with Power of Evil coming back into the lineup.
Not quite an H2K chant yet.
No.
They keep it simple.
It's the evolution, man. They'll get there.
It'll go like... No, wait, it doesn't fit in because it's only OG. So it wouldn't be like OG what?
OG what?
It's like, yeah, what?
Again.
Yeah, OG what?
OG again?
Oh, what? OG.
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
Maybe that's why they just say Origen.
Yeah. Also, they haven't had as much time to adapt to the chant.
True, they haven't won as many games.
Yeah. H2K have had more time to make that happen. And at some point, I'm sure Origen will be on the same tier. But as expected, players knew what was coming. And again, another important win for them in the race for fourth.
And that's the big thing, right? Going into a game like this for Origen, it's not really about how you play almost, because you expect to win almost no matter what. It's just getting that win, go home now and prepare for Fnatic tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because as long as every team that we expect to win today takes home the victories, we will get all these fights now as like one match deciding who's going to be number 4, who's going to be number 5, who's going to be first, you know, who's going to be number 7.
Yeah.
So Origen got the win they needed. Go home now, prepare for Fnatic. Fnatic's playing next game against Elements. It's going to be the same deal. They are expected to win. Still think Elements will put up more of a fight than Giants.
I mean, they pulled up sets before, you know, versus Giants who have not done as much of that. But yeah, we talk about momentum sometimes as well, but like there's not a lot of momentum that you carry from this game. You get the win and kind of like, I don't know, the cart or whatever is just like on the hill and it's rolling down the hill, but you know, it needs another shove. So that was a weird analogy. But yeah, the Jin as well was cool to see from Sven. He did well and yeah, solid performance. what can we say? We're going to send it over to Pyrotechnics, who is on stage with a man from Origen.
Thanks very much, Pulse. I'm joined by the tallest member of Origen. Of course, it is Sven. A really good game today. It was clinical. You guys closed out without hardly losing a man. So I want to ask you about Jin, because it's going to be a little bit more interesting going forward, I think. We've really only seen Reckless pipe up about this champion over here in EU. What are your thoughts on Jin?
So Jin has a lot of good things to his kit, and he has a lot of bad things. Like you have no mobility, so if you play against champs like Malphite and this kind of poppy dive champs, it can be really hard. But he's really good at setting up picks or ganks with his root and his ult. So also he has strong lane phase with Thresh. So it's like a go-to choice for me after Lucian, Kalista sometimes. So yeah, that's where the Jin comes from.
Go-to for you. Do you expect going into playoffs to see this a lot more across the board in Europe?
I think a lot of EU players have Jin as their third choice as AD carry after Kalista and Lucian, or Ezreal for that matter. So I think Jin is going to be played a lot more, especially since Kalista is banned so often. So yeah.
All right, well, looking forward to seeing more of it. Now, let's talk about tomorrow, because you're going to be facing down Fnatic in a rematch from week number 1. Looking ahead to that matchup, obviously today didn't present you guys with too much challenge. How are you preparing for Fnatic tomorrow, and considering all playoff seeding implications, how do you expect to do?
I think we're going to be fine. We prepare for Fnatic like we prepare for every other team. It's not we prepare for Giants and Fnatic and every other team the same way we do for everyone. So we go over drafts, we do scenarios, and if we win tomorrow, it's really important for us, because having a better playoff seeding could mean a lot for our first match. So we're going to do our best to win tomorrow.
That's what I like to hear. Good luck and have fun. Congratulations again on your win, Sven. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk to further break down game number 1.
Oh, that was cute. I just want to touch on that. I'm not buying what Sven is saying here. I prepare as much for Giants as we do for Fnatic. More importantly, because if you look at the bans, they ban out the Corki and the Kalista themselves. Lucian then gets banned out. He plays Jin. He goes like, yeah, Jin. Doesn't matter.
Pick.
I pick it, he says it at least twice. After Lucian and Kalista, I pick Jin. Twice the memo to Fnatic. So I don't know. I feel like they're trying to send a message here. Or otherwise, I feel it's ill-advised to give away this much information in a crucial matchup against a team that brought Jin to the stage.
Unless you're very, very confident.
Well, I mean, there's no reason after that game not to be confident. I mean, the only death they even gave up was Soaz dying in a 2v1 where he took someone with him. And
it's to be expected.
And then Amazing nearly got the second one as he came in the backside. So it's to be expected in that situation. You close the game out so clean, and you just showed the gap between where you are at the table and where the bottom teams are.
A lot of it was a resemblant of the very strong OG. Obviously, a lot of pressure coming down from Amazing on that champion loves to play Gragas. Let's take a look at one of the dives that sealed the deal and got the game totally in OG's favor, although it was looking like it before as well.
At least what we conclude here is that Giants initiated the play that ended the game. Sadly for them, it was Origen that ended up winning. This obviously, the failed dive here, just executed beautifully, knowing the limits here. Lantern comes out just to keep Jin safe, and Origen is just toying with Giants, who are they're in phase 1 of build a team.
Yeah.
Rudimentary plays set up a minute in advance, and then no plan B. Whatever happens, we focus on the play. We have to execute it. Previous to this, there was a couple of nice outplays in the top by Soaz, the little dive in the mid lane. The only thing that I really liked from Wisdom was that he kind of changed his pathing once Gragas was in his jungle. He went to the top side and attempted a dive. Sadly, it didn't work out. After those 2 or 3 kills and then this play, the game was over.
And from that play, I don't want to summarize too much from Hustlin. It was his first game in an impossible situation. One player is never going to come in and turn that around. He was going forward. The rest of the team were kind of going back under a turret with no minions. It's an individual misplay, but we've started now to see 2, 3, 4 players playing on a different playbook from everybody on Giants now. They're not on anywhere near the same page. And if they want to beat the likes of Copenhagen Wolves and Huma, the one thing you can say about those 2 teams is they were somewhat on the same page.
And it's also just so hard for Giants to find any progression on the stage, because in the last 3 games, they've got 4 kills. That's it. So the game starts, we practice the first 5 minutes, and by that point, it's almost over if you're the Giants. So it's so hard to practice, and then it has to be so demoralizing when you get to the scrims. The language barriers there too. So I hope they find a magic fix, because otherwise the next week will be incredibly rough.
Yeah, it's Thursday already, and to illustrate it, they haven't gotten any dragons, no first blood, nor first towers with their new lineup. 9k gold deficit at 20 minutes. There's almost nothing to build on, sadly, so indeed they have to find that magic fix. Let's hope that they are able to do better. Finally, OG, obviously, there's not a lot we can take from this game to look forward to that game versus Fnatic. Anything you guys got? Jin is good. Nils' Jin is good.
They look fine with Power of Evil. I mean, it's easy to look fine when you're winning.
I mean, PoE played, Varus played it well.
But it was Varus again.
It was an early dive. Other than that, I don't think the good thing for OG is that Fnatic can't take much from this match either.
Yeah.
So their prep, they know
true.
that their prep is still the same coming in. So they didn't reveal anything except that they played Jhin. But hey.
Hey, surprise. That's the bottom line. Indeed, we need to take a quick break, but the action is just getting started. When we return, it is Elements versus Fnatic. And before we go, we'll hear from how Reckless, how he found himself picking up the Virtuoso of Summoner's Rift. How topical.
Well, basically when Jhin was released, I told Daylor that I could kind of feel that this champion had an insanely high skill cap. So if I were to spam Sulk games, if I were to spam scrims, I would get so much better than others. And I think it like just worked out super good. Not only for me as a player, because I felt really comfortable playing it, but also for the team. Because for once, they didn't really have to adapt around me, because Jhin is the kind of champion that can just adapt around everyone else due to the kit he has.